Hello everyone and welcome to Sinful Gaming. I hope you're all doing well, I hope you're all staying safe, and most of all, I hope you're all fighting that war against Grey. So today, we're going to talk a little bit about some Warhammer, the old world rumours that have been floating around. Now, a few of the things in this rumour have sort of come to fruition, and I want to look through sort of this package of rumours and talk a little bit about all the parts that both have come true and that we've been told are true, by Games Workshop themselves, and also just look into other little things that are in this grouping of rumours from the same source. Now, this source was originally found on Reddit, and it sort of spiraled from there to the Facebook pages and all of that. So with that said, let's get kicking into this and let's get chatting a little bit about all these rumours and just have a bit of fun speculation. I mean, rumours are rumours. Always take these with a grain of salt, but I think they're a great bit of fun to talk about. They get my hype going. I hope they get your hype going for the new game. So let's get cracking into it. So, point first, the old world will be in multiple languages. Now, this might not sound like much, but there are times when Games Workshop games don't come out in a lot of languages straight away. I know for a fact the Japanese meta in Warhammer Age of Sigmar is currently behind the rest of the world in the meta. They're waiting for books to be updated at a slower rate, but I do know things like Germany and France get updates really quickly. This is actually really important for Warhammer the Old World, as I do think one of the strongest player bases for Warhammer Fantasy back in the day was the European sector of the world. And not only this, but it is one of the strongest places for games like Kings of War, Warhammer 9th Age, and other things as such are really strong in parts of Europe where these other sort of language variations will be very important to have. The plan is, though, for Games Workshop to take a slice in a market they no longer cater for. This has always been the plan for the old world, and I doubt it's changed since then at all. With this, they're looking at a market that is currently flooded by things like Warhammer Fantasy Battle 9th Age or Warhammer Fantasy Battle editions that have just been kept playing. Of course, Kings of War fits into this as well, and even things like A Song of Ice and Fire. All these rank and flank style games are all a market Games Workshop really does not have an answer for, and Games Workshop's got a lot of games out there. I mean, you can look, we've got really in-depth games like Necromunda, we've got card cross miniature games, we've even got card games out there in various forms. And of course, you've got your normal games like Age of Sigmar, 40k, etc. You've got your skirmish style games like Warcry, and you've got board games. They've got a lot of they're eating a lot of pieces of the pie, but they definitely have not got anything to cater for this particular market. So this is a big thing they're going to try and do with this game, is bring in some of that market to themselves. I don't really think they're aiming to take people away from Warhammer Age of Sigmar. Those people are already buying Warhammer. So I don't think the game is targeting anyone who plays Age of Sigmar or 40k, because they're already Games Workshop customers. If they buy Old World as well, so be it. But what Games Workshop do with a new game is they're trying to get more money, more people into their games. So they're definitely trying to get people to play this instead of other things like Kings of War, etc. Next, square bases, no adapters. Now, I think, first of all, this has been confirmed by Games Workshop that we will be returning to the classic square base. But not only that, the fact that Games Workshop aren't going to be looking into making adapters, to me says, further to the point we were just looking at, that yes, Age of Sigmar is not the target market here. They're looking to bring in old people back or bring in people from other games. Now, this is an interesting one because I really did think we were going to see square movement trays with round-based models on them. I thought that was the correct play. However, I can see this being the reason. It'll be interesting to see how well this does because of this. I don't think we will see a drop in Age of Sigmar because of this now, and maybe that's their sort of purpose for it, that they're not wanting to see a drop in Age of Sigmar, they're wanting to see the continuation of the game across, getting a different market brought to them and not losing any customers from one game system, not having that transferring market rather just getting an entirely new market. Number 3, lots of books. This is to create a solid core foundation for the game. Now, this is interesting because I really do wonder whether lots of books or maybe lots of armies is what's intended. They may have seen, maybe the people or might have heard the plans that maybe they're wanting to bring a lot of factions into the game straight away to give a really good diversity of factions within the game. And there's two ways they obviously can do this. They can either release a ton of army books out there, or they could do something like this Ravening Hordes book you see here, which updated a ton of armies across the game in a singular book, just giving us a vast roster of armies. I really do think this is probably how we're going to see the game launch, with a Ravening Hordes style book, where we get a ton of different options for a bunch of different armies, and further down the line, we start to see other factions fully explored as the game sort of moves on and progresses and expands. We've already seen the time period, and a lot of people have speculated all about the time period that the game is set in. It is sort of set in a rather unexplored time period of Warhammer Fantasy, and this is of course for them to get creative freedom. They don't want to be set in a time like we were in Warhammer Fantasy 8th edition, where we were sort of that minutes of midnight sort of setting, and we didn't really have that chance to explore much because we knew everything was happening, we knew who was where, why they were there, and all of that. And I think going to a time period where we don't have those things set in stone really does open up a lot more world building potential for the game, and in general just gives us a more exciting feel. I mean, I'm excited to go back to Warhammer Fantasy, but I think it's even more exciting to learn more about Warhammer Fantasy than what I already know by going back to a different time period. Number 4, one big starter box and Daemons vs Kislev is the rumoured starter box factions. Now, this doesn't surprise me at all, and we'll get talking about a couple of rumours in a sec, but first of all, I think a starter box is obviously where we're going to go, and I really do think that Kislev is going to be a major part of that starter box. A big reason being they're the one we've seen the most shown about. We've seen the sort of image sketches of new models. I think they're a really great entry point into the old world because they're going to give us a look at something that was never really truly fully explored, so it's going to make for an interesting first army. And well, their most natural enemy is the demons. I think we're going to see this as a sort of thing that's happening, and we'll get talking about that in the next point as to why this all might be happening. But I'm really excited to see Kislev with a full, nice sculpted model range. I'll be interested to see what they do with demons, and whether or not we maybe just get a couple of characters and they use the current existing ranges from 40k and Age of Sigmar. But that'll be interesting to get a look at. And number 5, now this is what I was talking about just before. The game was apparently supposed to be released alongside the Kislev vs Khorne Demon new Total War game. Now this sort of gives us an insight as to why apparently that's the box set rumoured, and apparently due to the changes they may be considering changing what the initial box set will contain. I don't think it's going to change with Kislev in it, but we might see a different adversary for them instead of Khorne. Now obviously the game was planned to come out alongside this apparently, but with the current world situation how it is, things have been pushed back. The game is now apparently supposed to be released potentially in 2022, though that is even subject to change as we have more issues around the world. So with this, it's interesting to see when the game will come out. It's sort of as I thought with how the world is currently gone, that we're not going to see that much progression in Warhammer the Old World, and we're going to be waiting a little bit longer for the game than we originally had planned. But anyway, I'd love to hear all your thoughts on what these rumours sort of imply. Are you excited for Kislev to be maybe the starter faction? And are you excited for it to be Khorne they verse potentially? And if not, what would be a perfect starter faction for you in the new Warhammer the Old World game? Well, thank you all for watching the video. We hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you have not already. Also, while you're at it, why not come chat more with us on Discord? We've got a link in the description of the video below to our Discord server. You can come chat with me and other members of our fine little community here at Sinful Gaming. Lastly, we'd like to give a shout out to everyone who helps support the channel in various different ways. First of all, to our Patreon members, Christian Weir, James Soren, Chaos Spawn, AJC, Kenny Lowe, Outer and Shot First, James Crowder, Andrew Bowen, Nathan Fee, Tim Newman, The Rising Ape, Cure Dynamic, Agu, Anthony B, MJ, and Dyna226. Thank you to, as well, our YouTube members, Green Roots Gaming, Fire Titan, Steve T, The Real Zeot, Chris Wallace, Turriot12, Vinny, and Loch Lorick. And a special thanks to our artist who does all the channel art for us, Lady Witchfox Art, thank you very much. And to our Discord moderator, Xmorphic, you do a fantastic job on Discord for us as well. Thank you all, everyone, for watching. If you'd like to help support on Patreon or YouTube member, or help support the channel in another way, you can do so by following one of the links in the description of the video to Patreon or YouTube members, or go buy some Sinful Gaming merch from our Teespring store, also linked in the video's description. That's it for today, everyone. Thank you again. Stay safe, stay well, and most of all, keep fighting that war against the grey. Ciao for now.